All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This time with tpat, going to be running some Pokemon Violet with us. During our intermission, we did also get a donation from Stalbulzin SC2 for 20 USD that says, "Thanks, Strider, for all your work over the years. Was always a great pleasure to be part of this event. Also, big GG to the crew making this possible. Let's kick cancer's butt." And thank you so much for the donation. And I'm going to pass it over to the runner and commentary. You folks can introduce yourselves as well as give us that 3, 2, 1 countdown, and best of luck on the run.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name is tpat. I'll be running Pokemon Violet, the Indigo disc here. And actually, before I start the run, I'm going to do the most important thing ever, which is called turn my autosave on. Because the game actually just crashed in the title screen as we were setting up. So this will be very important just in case. So we will save these settings. That will happen technically before we start time here. Reset our cursor. And now we are ready to go. So we were going to jump right into it. So everybody all together with me. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Crisis, you are up. You are my esteemed commentary for this. Please introduce yourself.
All right. Hello, my name is Chrysosaurus. I run this game a lot. So much so that I'm the only one mad enough to do this full category more than once.
Yes.
But
And funny enough, when you say full category, the Indigo disc is technically a 9-hour speedrun. We will not be doing the full 9 hours. We're actually just doing what I like to call the segment, the Indigo disc segment. So it's kind of
the category thing on top is a lie.
Yeah. The point is, we're doing the second DLC of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet here, but we don't even have access to its, like, completable storyline until we finish the entirety of the main game and the first DLC, the Teal Mask. So instead, I actually just have a dedicated save file that completes a speedrun version of the game through those first 7 hours, and now we get to enjoy a more relaxing and digestible 2 hours that is the Indigo disc.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if we actually did do the full Indigo disc, that estimate would not say 2 hours 15. It would say 9 hours 30.
Yeah.
As much as I don't, and as much as, marathons love, long runs, I think 9 hours 30 might be a tad bit too long.
I think only really, really long-a-thon would be, like, chomping at the bit for
a
run of that actual length.
Oh, no, someone already did. Someone actually did Mochi Mayhem for really, really long-a-thon.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's somebody might be.
But so this is the Indigo disc. We are currently in Blueberry Academy, where we have simply one goal. There's actually a second goal later, but we'll worry about that later. But we have one goal, which is to become champion of the Blueberry League, which is actually just a fan club in this game. Mm-hmm. Not an actual league.
Yeah, it's technically in the Unova region. There's some lore for all of you in chat. It's just the school.
Lore
apparently Pokemon's going in that direction of just, like, instead of sending you out into the wild on your adventure, you actually have to go to school for Pokemon now. That's what in my game, it's the Yuva Academy. In the anime, there's, like, the Indigo Academy, and now we're at the Blueberry Academy. So schools are now popping up. Stay in school, kids.
And in Scarlet version, it is the Nahanja Academy.
I'm so glad you said it, because my Spanish could use some de-rusting myself. It's just a word that, like, I can't say it. Naranjan.
It's the Spanish word for orange.
Yeah.
It also just helps that I am just from Brazil, so I do know how to pronounce those words.
Right, a little bit of some Portuguese dialect helping you out there.
Oh yeah, no, it's helpful for a lot of things. Anyway, let's actually forget about, talking about dialects and all that. Let's actually talk about, this game and what makes this speedrun a little bit more interesting, which we're about to find out in about
2 seconds here.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
We're about to see the main gimmick of this speedrun, which is the fact that
it's all double battles.
Everything. Yes. I hope you like VGC, because we're gonna make a mockery of this.
Yeah.
But before we make a mockery of this, we need to make a mockery of ourselves.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Plusle Minun Nice little introduction into the Blueberry Academy, where quite literally every single battle within the academy is going to be a double battle. And Plusle is helping hand the Minun, and the Minun is going to discharge.
Why did we send 2 Pokemon that are like not just 70 but also 40 levels underneath? Oh, we just died.
I just lost. Oh no, I lost! No!
Oh no, we have to reset the first 5 minutes because we lost.
I can't believe I go to a whole new region and I just lose in the first turn of the game. Oh no. Anyways.
Yeah, yes, it is faster to lose this fight. It is actually faster to lose every fight in this game that we can, because you might have noticed a few things about this game. That being, move animations are turned on. Before you ask, we tried turning it off. There is no setting to turn it off. So we have to keep them on. This does make it for
battles are very slow in this game, especially compared to like other Pokemon speedruns, and it is mainly because of the move animations. So this game gets a lot of like kind of flavor from say like Coliseum. By the way, we're gonna put our real team back in, and if you were very keen-eyed, I said that this is like basically the continuation of a speedrun. My Flamigo, which is caught at the very beginning of the game. Flamigo, well used through any percent and Victory Road, and of course this category. That Flamigo is level 92, so that is technically how we are starting out this segment of the speedrun, is with a level 92 Flamigo. I think the Hawlucha is like 50-something.
Yeah,
so quite a
Hawlucha
bit behind.
can be like between 51 and like 55. The actual level of Hawlucha doesn't really matter, but yes.
Yeah,
our
Flamigo is still going to be our ace for this whole time.
We'll explain how exactly we get here later, because believe me, we will have 10 minutes to do so.
True.
But the main thing you need to know about this Flamigo, it's level 92, and it does have perfect attack and speed IVs. For those who don't know, IVs is just the kind of like how good a stat is, but due to the fact that we can use bottle caps, and we did use bottle caps, our Flamigo's attack and speed is perfect. And we also gave our Flamigo enough vitamins that we have essentially the maximum attack this Flamigo could possibly have.
Yeah, and
like,
that's done.
The only
done
thing that's
in
limiting
the,
our
like,
power
any
is actually
percent.
our level.
Yeah, and it's done in the any percent portion, because it is still beneficial to not only set up the Flamigo for this section, but we benefit it earlier in the quote run during any percent in the Teal Mask section.
Yeah,
so I do have like a handful of like important items and just kind of important prep, but I haven't gone so far as to be like, I have a level 100 everything in my team. It's not to that level. We've still done the minimum required, but it still sets us up very nicely for this section. But you'll find that even at level 92, we're not going to be like storming away. Like, the fights are not only not trivial, but they're actually really, really exciting. And this is what makes the Indigo Disc my favorite single story category out of all of Scarlet and Violet, is that the fights are actually very interesting, very exciting. The flow charts are deep. And it's more than just click, wing attack, win, fight. And that's what really excites me about the Indigo Disc and being able to showcase this. So even though we have the super high level Flamigo, the fights are still going to be very exciting. And we're just going to be in the realm of winning because we're so high level.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually the main reason why I tolerate the first 7 hours of actually doing the speedrun.
Mm-hmm.
Because
but the same as like a regular run of Scarlet and Violet, we're gonna do the same within the biodome here, where we're gonna swing around the map and still collect a handful of experience candies and rare candies that will be lying around on the ground. That is very classic for like the any percent portion. We still do a little bit more here, less for the Flamigo, but more for the other Pokemon that we will be catching and using.
You say that it's like it's only exclusive to any percent that we get the candies. Literally every single category gets candies. It just depends on which category you're doing as to how many you get. Like I think like Teal Mask gets the least amount due to the fact that it's all smalls and stuff, whereas like obviously this category gets the most because well, we're collecting 3 regions worth of candies.
Mm-hmm.
And
honestly,
yes, the candies
the
aren't
movement
actually
is a unique like aspect. So instead of like simple routes where you might just have to dodge a spinner or two, you have to really know and memorize your movement through these regions, these open world regions. I say that multiple because you have 3 between the main story and the 2 DLCs. So there's still a lot to memorize and be very accurate with in terms of like the candy pickups, and then you get the reward of that later.
But also, you have to have a reaction time because this game loves to spawn Pokemon right in front of you, and you have to react within a blink of an eye.
Yeah,
and that's what makes this game a little bit more interesting, in my opinion. Essentially, the wild Pokemon are the spinners, except they're nowhere near as punishing as actually hitting an actual spinner.
Yeah, I think 15 wild Pokemon can spawn at any given time, and they can be in like hordes of 5. So you could have like 3 hordes of 5. Or a bunch of like random one-offs. You're gonna.
And they can also spawn in the worst locations possible, like maybe in the entrance of that cave that you get stuck.
Yeah, that's why I actually like undash around those blind corners, so that way I don't accidentally get into a wild encounter.
Speaking of mains, though, we are actually going to be getting our first of new Pokemon that we are going to catch here. There are 3 reasons why we are catching. Yeah, one's not going to be enough. We do actually need a second one, but we'll get to why the second one is. But here's the first Pokemon being the Alolan Dugtrio.
Alolan Dugtrio! It's going to be great for the run, and we actually have to catch an Alolan form anyways. This is our, quite literally, homework, like, for the story. It tells us to go out into the wild and catch an Alolan Pokemon. Getting it first try is nice. I have not gotten that in practice at all. It is 73% with a Quick Ball.
So yeah, Alolan Dugtrio, there's definitely a lot to talk about with Alolan Dugtrio. Main thing to know, it's a Pokemon that has Earthquake. That's going to be very useful.
Do you remember what was on the test? All double battles in this region? Yeah, that's right. So
yeah, turns out Earthquake might actually be helpful. So, but yes, there were other options before this. Alolan Muck and Alolan Grimer were considered to be options, but then I then looked at one Japanese one and realized, wait a second, there's just an Alolan Dugtrio just sitting right here. Why don't we just use that instead? And, we did.
Yeah, and it's great because the Pokemon we're going to catch in the terrarium here are pretty docile in terms of how they react around us, which makes it really easy to get backstrikes. Backstrikes first in Legends Arceus also give you a catch boost in this game as well. That Alolan Dugtrio is literally stuck in the ground, so you will always be able to attack it from the angle that I did to get that backstrike. We'll get a Meowstic in just a moment as well to be our other main Pokemon. Meowstic's very docile. It may acknowledge us, but it won't like turn around to always look at us like most other Pokemon will.
Right, now it's time to explain something very important, which
barbecues.
is the BBQs.
I love barbecues. Chorizo,
right, so
Italian
BBQs,
sausage.
Or blueberry quests, as they're called in this game, are essentially...
They're barbecues to me.
Yep, whatever. They are important because we do actually need, because every time we complete a quest, we actually do get BP, and we do actually need 115 Fugi's challenges once, tpat actually learns how to ride his motorcycle.
There were 2 Oricorios there, man. Like, give me a break.
But yeah, they can range from many things. One of the quickest ones that we can do is actually just quickly take a picture. And that's also another good one. Just travel 500 yards.
That one's free. There's also catch a Pokemon and... Is it catch or backstrike it? Oh, I missed that.
Backstrike it, but, well...
It's called Sneak Up.
Surprise. It's actually called Surprise, but we call it backstrike because we're from Legends. Because we're 2 Legends.
Legends Arceus is actual good game. This Meowstic
you don't have to shame this game while you're playing it. You know that.
This Meowstic, funny enough, is almost guaranteed to catch in a Quick Ball, and I mean literally almost guaranteed. I've never failed it, but it's well over 99%.
Yeah. To continue with the BP, we do need at least to obtain 150 BP. 10 items is also great. Because when we do the Elite Trials, at least for 3 of them, we do actually have to pay a fee of 50 BP. The game does give us 50 for free, and so we actually need to. Actually, I'm not lying. We need to just collect 100 BP because the game gives us 50 for free. And high healing.
Okay. I never saw it.
Hey, it's called camouflage. It did a good job.
that was extreme. I need to get around you because that is an item that I'm not just picking up for the thing.
Perfect.
Pokemon
That's
swimming
perfect.
is perfect. I'll just get that.
Well, you're gonna get the 500 yards first, but yeah, once we get 110 or 100 points, we are completely fine because that is the amount of points. Make sure you get those 3 M's. Oh, sorry, adamant. That's even more important.
Yeah, that's why I did a funny jump. Okay, we'll be doing the swimming Pokemon.
Yeah, we'll be. Oh,
because it was another backstrike quest.
yeah, we want to make sure that we get enough points here because once we get enough, we then have essentially the point required to do the whole.
I literally hit A too early and talked to an NPC.
Skill issue.
I know.
So here we're gonna go just take another picture of a water Pokemon, which is kind of funny that when you do take a picture of a water Pokemon, I actually just take a picture and put it into your Switch menu, which is kind of funny, but yeah. Now, T-Pat, you're gonna have to do the most complex menu in the entire game.
So the last time I showcased this, I did ask for some serious time, so I will take some serious time here because this is a rough menu.
Yep. Beautiful.
I'm doing this all from memory, by the way.
And you're doing a fantastic job.
This is the best I've done this menu ever. Just check my Meowstic's nature for me, would you?
Will do. Minus special defense.
Oh, that's actually perfect.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not to toot my own horn. That menu was
beautiful
clean.
Menu right there.
Oh my goodness, I was like stressing about that.
That is a good round of applause right there. That menu, I could not have done that menu better myself, and believe me, I made that menu.
Yeah, this menu takes up 3/4 of a page of my notes. I did that all from memory, and I am actually really impressed with myself. What does make that a little bit easier is that since I am using a pre-made file, the Flamigo that I have is the same, and 2 things matter for not just that menu, but through the run. It's nature, oh no, not nature, it's ability matters, and its Terra type matters, and it does adjust some of the things we do in that menu. So thankfully, I have a scrappy ability Flamigo and a fighting Terra, which good ability, bad Terra type. But there are certain things I do in that menu that are different, but since I've been able to practice that specific Flamigo's menu, I have that pretty down pat.
Yeah, speaking of abilities, we're about to see why Scrappy is really good right now. This Mightyena has Intimidate. Guess what Scrappy doesn't care about? Intimidate.
Intimidate.
Generous for buffing Scrappy. They kind of knew Intimidate was the most broken ability in the entire game, so they actually gave a lot of abilities just the ability to be immune to Intimidate, which is kind of funny.
So this is Carmine. Carmine is the one of the companions from the Teal Mask DLC, the first DLC. Her and her younger brother are still the main companions of this DLC, but now her younger brother is going through his like Joker arc, as we'll see after this battle. But Carmine's just like, oh my god, you're in the Blueberry Academy now? Like, come on, we should have a battle.
Also, nice new beak blast.
Yeah,
that's actually
which is nice.
Yeah, it saves time. And considering the fact that every single little thing has an animation, not being burned is helpful.
Yeah, and then again, there's another Intimidator on this battle, so again, Scrappy helping out here. If we had the Tangled Feet ability, we would need to burn a turn with an X attack.
Yeah.
So Scrappy is the preferred ability. Flying Terra is the preferred Terra type, but that only matters on the exact last fight of the game.
Which we'll get to in a moment. But I do actually want to explain one thing real quick, which is the fact that, as you may notice, tpat is playing on Violet version. And there are a couple of differences between Violet and Scarlet. This one is actually like the biggest difference. This fight is actually the biggest difference between Scarlet version and Violet version. And that is the fact that this fight is way better in Violet. As we saw, we actually see with tpat a 2-turn Carmine fight, which is only possible in Violet and impossible to do in Scarlet version. And the main reason why is, unfortunately, like, we have to use our Flamigo to knock out the 2 cannon, but the 2 cannon will always go for Beak Blast because we have 2 fighting types on the team, because Koraidon's a fighting type, and that is not ideal. So
I beat Carmine in less than 20 minutes. That's like actually really good. It's really good.
Then the fact you had an encounter too, yes, that is very good.
Yeah, an
But yes.
encounter and the swimming Pokemon isn't like the fastest. The second one isn't the fastest to get. So that was just like really, really good. And then as I mentioned, here's Kieran. Kieran was like our buddy that we were paired up with in the Teal Mask. And we started defeating him over and over and over again, and he started getting just more angry at us to the point where he's actually now the champion of the Blueberry Academy. That's right, Kieran is now the champion because he's obsessed with power. So that's gonna be like the little bit of the plot line is just like, oh, look at our friend and how messed up he is now.
Yeah, but now we get to the part of the game where every single category has what I like to call the infamous we have to wait moments. And this is the Indigo Discs version, where for the next 10 minutes we are gonna have nothing but cutscenes. So this is a good time to
we're here to vibe. Yeah, this is a great time for donations or hearing about any incentives, or of course this great charity, the Canadian Cancer Society. So yeah, if you got anything for us, now is an amazing time for that.
Well, all right. We currently do not have any new donations, but we do have a few. One final incentive to go. It's for the Super Metroid map randomizer, Save the Animals or Kill the Animals. So currently, Save the Animals well in the lead for $570 against the Kill the Animals $355.06.
All right, so I think there's also a classic. Yeah, that is definitely a classic incentive for you two guys to support. We all love Save versus Kill the Animals, but in the meantime, since we have all this time, I think it's time for we, kind of explain a few things. As how exactly did we get here? Why is this estimate 2 hours and not 9 hours? If there's some, just to catch up to people on chat, and just to explain a lot of things. So throughout this entire game, to get to this point, we need to have done everything of Scarlet and Violet in order to even unlock the Indigo Disc story. That being the 5 hours of any percent and the 1 hour 40 of the Teal Mask, which our one and only Flamigo did demolish the entire thing and took no prisoners with it.
Yeah, like those fights are completely trivial. Like they're easy in any percent, and then in with the addition of the Teal Mask, we actually just like continue to get even more experience candies, so it's even more broken than it normally is.
So that explains why our Flamigo is, level 92, and we'll continue to get some levels above it. But you might notice that even on the Indigo Disc leaderboard, you might notice that Scarlet, even though I said a lot of good things about the Violet fight, Scarlet still ends up being faster. Yeah, there's a stupid reason for that.
The reason is that Scarlet lags less. There's no surprise to anybody who has played Scarlet Violet that the game is very laggy, and it actually just gets worse the longer you play. Any good software developer would tell you it's like it has to do with what's called memory leak. Don't ask me to explain it. I'm not a software developer. But basically, the longer you play the game, like the more memory gets like stored up, and the game just runs slower. For whatever reason, Violet suffers worse from this than Scarlet does. There are a lot of like theories out there that like Miraidon's particle effects might be like a contributor. But it's like a 2-3 minute difference in terms
1
of
minute
Scarlet.
per hour.
Oh. That's so much.
At least from what I've heard, it is roughly 1 minute per hour.
Well, that's total amount of lag, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then the difference between Scarlet and Violet is like another, like it's like 1.5 to 2 minutes on top of that. Violet lags more.
Yeah, no. Essentially, like if you do the same speedrun on both Scarlet and Violet, assuming everything the same, of course, Violet will be slower for the Indigo disc by 9 minutes.
That's so much, dude. Yeah, so for the full game, like the leaderboard worthy portion, yes, you would still use Scarlet. Even though like all other things equal, like Violet should actually be the preferred category. We're going to the cafeteria. But yeah, it's just because of the lag for whatever reason.
I will say this right now, like there's technically only one fight that Scarlet, actually 2 fights in this category that Scarlet actually benefits from. That being the Sada versus Toro fight, where in Toro you're always a 7-turn in Indigo disc, whereas in Sada you can be 6 turns. And in the final fight, if you are doing the Terra fighting strat, which tpat will be, Scarlet is technically better at this because, Koraidon's slightly bulkier and, Terrapagos does less damage physically, which helps it a lot, but we'll get to that fight when we get to that fight.
Yeah. I think I was also going to say...
every other thing, Violet is actually just way better.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Crisis, with you being this call, like, I just obviously wanted to say a big thank you to you for creating a lot of, like, the theory crafting and the routes and using me as the Violet guinea pig, because Violet's just the version I own. And also for, like, for you and I to both be like, hey, like, let's speedrun this, like, kind of, like, semi-competitively, like, push each other along. But just do it in the way that we're showcasing here. Like, let's just have our save file and then just do this 2-hour run. Like, yeah, it's not on the leaderboard, but that's not stopping us from, you know, like, racing it in the way that we think is fun. And that obviously means a lot to me because the 9 hours is such a slog, but these 2 hours is actually so fun. Like, the payoff is great, but man, 7 hours to get there is just a lot. So I'm really glad that you and I, when we were doing this a lot, especially last year, we put some effort into just getting good at this section of the game, which is super cool.
I mean, and I still say this is the best section of Scarlet and Violet by far. Like, it has everything that I like about the original, but also actually has fights that give us a challenge, which is something that was missing from the original.
Scarlet and Violet is great in the single story categories. For those that are unfamiliar, you don't just have to do any percent. Each of the companions have their own quest lines. So in the regular game, there's Path of Legends for Arven, there's Victory Road for Nimona, and Starfall Street for Penny. And each of those 3 stories has their own individual speedrun category. And all 3 are actually very unique in their own respects. And then the first DLC, the Teal Mask for Kieran and Carmine's story, was also an official single story category. This is the only one that's not like an official single story because you have to do the other stories to get here. But when you look at it from this perspective, this is my favorite of the 5 single stories, like bar none. And it is because a lot of the fights.
Yeah, the reason why you have to do this is because plot reasons. You have to finish the Teal Mask because otherwise Kieran's backstory just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And you have to finish the main game, otherwise you going back to Area Zero later on, spoilers.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
would also not make any sense. So this has to be done. Do keep in mind that you can actually
You can access the area.
You can access the area as soon as you beat. Well, I say beat. As soon as you lose to Kieran, the first Kieran fight in the teal mask. Clavel gives you a call to be like, "Hey, Cyrano wants you to, go to this school," but the phone call with Carmine will not actually ring until you beat the whole teal mask segment.
Yeah, which then in turn just doesn't access you to the rest of the plot line.
And unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, fortunately for us, going to Indigo Disc early is actually that useful at all. Even though there's like, there's like a bunch of candy that you could give to. Oh, hi, hello, Saucebuck.
Shit. Did that not spawn the frame I hit it?
Yeah, no, it just spawned and then you went, and then you hit it, like literally like 2 frames later.
Yeah,
Skill
like
issue.
I still have to be on my toes, but there's no way I could have dodged that.
Yeah, that's just what we like to call in the business, BS.
Yeah. But now that we've done kind of that introduction sequence, we're going to start getting into just battling the Elite Four. We got introduced to them in that cutscene. There's Crispin, Amorous, Lacey, who we met earlier, and then Drayton, who Carmine says is the worst.
Toothpaste bozo.
Yeah, toothpaste hair guy. So we're going to go straight into...
Toothpaste bozo, that's literally what she says.
I didn't know she called him a bozo. But yeah, actually, the Elite Four trials are all actually pretty interesting. On top of just the battles being kind of difficult in their own respects, each of the trials are very unique, and I actually really, really, really like the trials. A lot better than some of the gym trials in regular Paldea.
Okay, 3 of them are interesting. One of them is point and click. This one is actually interesting in a different way.
I love the point and click one. I think there's you could be good at the point and click one. Though the one that's least interesting for me is the fly straight. Spoilers.
No, okay, that one's funny, okay?
It's funny, but I like it because it's funny. The point and click one is like cute, and you also still have to be good at it.
Anyway, here's the first trial that we're gonna have to do. It's called making a sandwich.
I love making a
spicy
sandwich. Is that how you pronounced it?
No. I mean, look, here's the thing. Half the words I pronounce it wrong because it pisses someone off. And it's great.
Yep, we gotta make Crispin a super spicy sandwich. So there's a whole bunch of gym trainers around here that will have ingredients that they will share or trade for. We'll need to get some. But here we have what's called the YOLO strat. I will be clicking Fissure against the camera, and listen, it's like, what, 30-something% to hit?
33%, I think? It's a 1 in 3, roughly. You either get it or you don't. This is like the best. And unfortunately, this is like the best strat we have for this fight.
If you hit this fissure, you save a ton of time.
Yeah.
Because the fight just ends.
So, you want to know something a little bit of a fun fact? I actually saw some Japanese runs of this run, and you want to know the strat that they do for Carmine 4 instead of the Koraidon strat that we do? They use a little Undug Trio and just spam Fissure on the other guy and see if it hits.
That's actually incredible.
Yeah, I said no to that, and I wanted more consistency, and turns out it's slightly better.
But yeah, if you hit Fissure, you get to skip that second turn, and again, because of the death animation, the doesn't affect Flamigo, it's a double battle, sending out a new Pokemon, and it's another turn. All that adds up a lot. Like, you can just save 20 seconds if you hit that Fissure.
Yep. It is a great Fissure to hit, but again, 33%, so you don't always get it. But main thing we need to explain about this trial is we need to gather ingredients to then trade for other ingredients so that we can get ourselves to make enough for a super spicy sandwich. There are actually 3 trainers that you can fight here. We are only going to fight 2 because A, we only need to, and B, the other trainer sucks. That other trainer has 4 Pokemon, and we don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Here we'll see Alolan Dugtrio come into its own just quietly for the first time here by doing X Attack Earthquake and win the fight.
Yep.
So, like, the Doug trio that we just caught for that, like, classroom assignment is going to be extremely useful because of Earthquake. And yes, that Meowstic we caught will also come in handy, especially in these very challenging Elite Four doubles.
Yeah, initially, this wasn't actually the strat they used to do. We didn't actually put Doug Trio second, we actually just put Halucha second, but turns out, actually, by putting Doug Trio next, we can actually just speed up this fight and just use an extra X attack, and we can do that. And actually makes the Crispin fight a little bit more consistent. The only downside being that we would like Alolan Doug Trio to get a bit more experience, but it's just a small sacrifice we have to pay.
Yeah. Are you a fan of mayonnaise puns? Because that kid was really into mayonnaise.
Yep. Mayonnaise. I'm just gonna say it just to not offend people. It's an acquired taste.
I'll say it to offend people. I hate mayonnaise. Sorry, Midwesterners. Not a fan.
Yeah, it's a fine thing that we can put the mayonnaise in our sandwich, and it doesn't actually change anything. But tpat, you do actually have to be careful.
Yep, I know.
As later on, we do grab the exact minimum ingredients to make this super spicy sandwich. So when we do make the sandwich, if we drop a single, and I mean a single ingredient, we are losing about a minute.
I've only done that once. Come on, don't make fun of me.
Hey, at least do it once during an Indigo disc.
All right, chat, everybody, help me make the sandwich. Skip the mayonnaise, of course, because it's gross.
And it's slow, and it's actually a slow.
Honestly, that would probably make this less spicy. Let's face it. Okay, so chorizo, bam, ooh, onion.
So check.
Jalapeno.
Type 1 if you make the sandwich exactly like this.
Chef's kiss. Beautiful. A tasty tpat original. Put the chorizo on one side.
I definitely put all the chorizo at the bottom and all the jalapeno at the top. But it's definitely how I make my sandwich.
I mean, is that not how... That's how a speedrunner makes their sandwich. And now we're going to feed it to Crispin.
That's not even true. A speedrunner just doesn't even put the top right.
It's funny enough, you can miss the bread. But then Crispin will have like an extra bit of dialogue to be like, oh, is this flatbread approach like some Paldean, gourmet? It's just like, shut up, let me battle you.
To be fair, it is kind of funny. And the fact that they thought about it is actually interesting. But yeah, that's the trial. Now it's actually time for the hot pot. And actually, I'm gonna be honest. I think Crispin is actually the hardest of the 4 Elite Four members that we have to fight. Like Drayton is free. Lacey is
Drayton's free unless your name is tpat. Let's face it. I mean, how many times do you see me have some weird Drayton fights?
And Amorous is free as long as you don't get a certain move turn 1. But I actually think that Crispin can be the most annoying of the 4.
Actually, I definitely agree that it's the most annoying.
That it's like when I think about which of the 4 Elite Four members I'm most scared to face. Remember, Kieran's not part of this conversation right now. I actually think that Crispin is the scariest.
Actually, the more I think about it, the more it's just like if the Rotom gives you a stray like critical hits, which is just super unlikely that it even targets the Flamigo after turn 1. I can see it derailing pretty horrifically.
You know how I can also see this thing derailing turn 1? The Talonflame clicks Brave Bird for some reason.
Yeah, let's not speak those words into existence. So here's our first Elite Four battle. It is the Fire one. And now that we are in double battles, our main strats will in fact be... Yeah, that's really good. It is still going to be attack with the Flamigo and pump X items into it with the partner, but we have to very cleverly bait the opponent into attacking the support slot, try to leave the Flamigo alone as much as possible. But there are so many permutations of how this fight can go. For example, that Talonflame is holding a Focus Sash, so if it doesn't use Flare Blitz or do something that does recoil damage, we won't actually get it to be KO'd on turn 1, and then we'll lose a turn and have to like try to recover from there.
Okay.
That's just kind of like the first step. The other thing that's tricky here is that most of his Pokemon do have Flame Body, and the Rotom has Will-O-Wisp. Both can burn. Burn is more slow than anything else, so we're going to heal it off every time that we see it, just because it is slow.
Yeah. The only thing to keep in mind, Tifa, as I remind you, is that Overheat did miss, so this Rotom still has its powerful special attack.
Yeah,
but
dude, I had a practice run where he Thunderbolted the Flamigo.
Yeah, this is still fine.
Yeah, this is fine right now.
This is actually like a pretty fine fight.
So now the Meowstic will make its first appearance. We did teach it Fake Out in that beautiful menu I had earlier. Fake Out is going to be unbelievably clutch for us in so many scenarios. Not just the flinching tactics, which is, by the way, very fast. It's a fast move animation, and it skips that opponent's turn. But then we are just getting less risk. You know, that Rotom isn't going to be able to Thunderbolt or Overheat us here. And it can also break things like Focus Sash and Sturdy, even with just 1 HP of damage dealt.
Yeah, most of the time we just need just that little bit of damage. Right here, we don't really have anything better to do right now.
So I'm just gonna start chipping away with Psychic now. Okay, here's the Overheat.
That could actually kill your Meowstic.
I had a crit it too, so...
Yeah, this is kind...
It's annoying. Kind of I have the...
Doing Miraidon strats? Well... Actually, I don't know.
What's the best thing to use with Miraidon? Just Power Gem here?
Yeah, just Power Gem it.
This is the second time this week I've had Miraidon in this fight. Which is not normal, but...
I wouldn't say it's, like, annoying. Technically, Miraidon does get a little bit more EXP, which can help a little bit in future fights, but we don't really want to put Miraidon too much, as the ability to set up its Hadron engine is a bit slow. It is very powerful, the Hadron engine, though. But
what it
most
does,
of the time, we don't want it. It's like, you need to set up electric terrain, and then it gets a boost. And then every time you use a super effective move, like we're going to see right now, it's like, I knew you could do it. And it's like,
that's it! I knew you could do it!
It's, you know, it can be a bit annoying, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Just spam power them again and then move on.
Will-O-Wisp, this is the only burn I'm not going to heal off, because it doesn't. In fact, Power Gem will just kill me.
Yeah, but also, one thing to note is that before every single Elite Four member fight, you do actually get a full free heal, so we don't even have to worry about healing between fights, which is nice.
Yeah. That's always been kind of a staple of when you're going through double battles, is for like most of the game, and I don't want to speak about all of it because there might be weird scenarios, but for like most of the game, it'll just say, hey, you shouldn't have only one Pokemon. I'll just give you a full heal so that way you can still do the double battles as double battles. So we do often just get topped off by all the Elite Four members. Even in the trial, those gym trainers were healing us after their battles.
But it's like, even in the Elite Four, they don't actually like tell you that you've healed. They just heal it anyway. They're just like, oh, he just healed in a cutscene. It's like, it's kind of funky like that, which is, you know, it's a nice thing. We don't have to be like, you know, going in our bag and making sure we have a lot of hyper potions and super potions. It's just like, nah, just be fine. In fact, funnily enough, Indigo Disc and Mochi Mayhem, Indigo Disc specifically, we never actually heal our Pokemon manually, ever, in the entire game.
Yeah.
Any percent, you most of the time have to heal before Hassle because you're much lower level. And Mochi Mayhem, you do actually have to heal just after you beat Nemona 7, which is the Nemona fight in Mochi Mayhem, because you don't actually get the free heal before
what was that?
The final fight in the game. It's the one time where actually they don't give it to you, which is really interesting.
But yeah, hopefully everybody enjoyed that kind of nice taste of what the Elite Four is. As you probably heard, I was just like spitting out bars of, you know, all the things that can go wrong, all the things that we're looking for. Yeah, all the fights are like that. The fights are super duper interesting in this category, which just makes this so rewarding to play.
I mean, I'll say if of all the 4 fights, because there is a 5th one that can go wrong, Crispin is the one that's most likely to go wrong.
Yeah, definitely can go haywire pretty fast.
Like Amaris, like there's only one thing that she can do.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't do that, then we're fine. If she does do that, then I'm gonna have to hold tpat's hand and actually fix things because I know how to fix things.
I've seen it once. It's not the most unreasonable thing to happen, but it is rare for it to happen.
But thankfully, I know the fix. It's actually a pretty simple fix. I thought the fix was complicated, but actually I should probably write down in the notes what the fix is. Like, if you do get whirlwind, because it's actually not that difficult.
Yeah, I remember just kind of YOLOing it. I actually won the fight, but it was just kind of like very slow.
Because I remember, if I remember correctly, there's like 2 slight variations, because if Hawlucha comes in, it kind of ends up being back to normal-ish. Whereas if Meowstic comes in, the next Pokemon that's going to come in is going to be the Empoleon.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where things...
I can see it now, because then you don't have to recover your X speed. You don't have to X speed, because you recover speed.
Yeah.
That's kind of dope.
You won't have to X speed. You will have to X attack again, which is fine, because we do actually buy a whole excess of X attacks in this category. Like,
so
we buy 21...
This trial's the easiest, but the funniest. So Amaris is is the Steel Elite Four member, but this is the Flying trial. So yes, we are going to see a Skarmory on her team. Very, very nice little combination there. So her trial is just like glide through the rings, and she actually does give us the ability to fly, not just glide. I also love that she calls them right on the Agayas, because that's what it says.
I mean, to be fair, we really love taking inspiration from Superman 64 for this, for some reason.
Superman 64.
We all
How
love
dare
flying
you mention that in my AAA video game?
Hey, look, you insulted my game, so I'm bringing this up. So yeah, you see this obstacle course that we're supposed to do, or at least you saw it in the old loading screen.
It. Oh, I'm gonna do this so good. I'm gonna go for the high score.
Do it, but we're gonna break the rules, because the only requirement is you have 30 seconds to get to the goal. Each ring gives you 3 seconds. So we're
3 seconds.
That's it.
Oh no, I got lost. Where am I going? No, I don't know. What have I done?
The goal is actually right in front of you. You could just fly there.
You mean this thing? That's the goal?
Yeah,
I see the other rings. Exactly. They're over there. I mean, I guess I could get a goal from behind. This is like shooting the basketball from behind the backboard, but you know what? We'll go for it.
I don't even know if that's allowed, actually.
Goal!
Basketball, but yeah. Yeah, we could just ignore the entire obstacle course. Yeah. So, this is a lesson for children. When you ever are making a rule set for any single game that you do, make sure you think about the possibilities of people doing things the unintended way. It's actually a real thing. Too. Like, when you actually are making a rule set for, like, video game tournaments, you actually have to think of a lot of things. Like, what your tiebreakers are going to be. How are you going to determine if things happen in the game? It's like, these are things you actually have to, like, write down and be like, oh.
Yeah, if you give somebody just a bunch of rules, they're going to figure out how to take advantage of the rules that are given to them. They're not going to break the rules. They're just going to take advantage of it. And the rule was like finish before the timer runs out. And it said nothing about how many rings I have to collect.
Yeah, it's something that us speedrunners really love doing. It's like, here's a rule set that we have to follow, but we'll just find a way around it.
I mean, F1 does that too. It's just, here's the rules of how to build your car. And everyone's just like, no one said that my car couldn't have flexi wings on the back. You only said it didn't have to flex more than this in the test that we have to do.
I mean, we should probably have more things to talk about, because let's face it, we're about to head to the longest turn in the entirety of this game.
Oh yeah, this is a long opening turn here.
Yeah, I want you guys to like count how many seconds this turn is gonna take because trust me, I think it's gonna be more than a minute.
All right.
Like this.
Here, I'll give you a hint. I started putting inputs in at 48:25 on my live splits. We'll see how long it is before I'm able to do any more inputs.
Doesn't affect Flamingo. Dug Trio is used as bait for the Dug Trio to use Earthquake because if we don't, then we get Iron Head and we can get Flinch and that'll be bad.
I will double kick it
Double
because
kick.
it has a Focus Sash.
The Focus Sash will then get used up. It's done.
But it has the ability Tangled Hair, so my speed's gonna drop.
And then we're gonna get the second hit in, which is gonna be great. And then Tangled Hair is gonna activate once again.
Death Animation, and of course, Flavor Text for hitting super effective. This is the hop syndrome that all the trainers have. If I would have crits, it would have been even longer.
Yep. And then wait, you still have Skarmory.
Yup. It's
Body
been over a
press,
minute,
perfect.
by the
One more
way.
bite.
Minute 7.
1 minute and 7 seconds. That is a very long time. And before
So
anyone asks, like, why we have to X attack turn 1, no, you actually don't need it to KO the Dug Trio. We actually need it to KO the Reuniclus.
Yes. Because we
But
can't use X
we need
attack
to-
on this turn because we need to lock that Skarmory out of using Whirlwind, so that's why we use Encore there.
Actually didn't go for
super
Whirlwind.
important.
Huh. It actually didn't go for Whirlwind. I think it actually went for Dual Wing Beat. So you could actually tell which move the Skarmory went for based on the priority. Because Whirlwind has a negative priority, Flamingo would have went last. Well, if it went for Whirlwind, Flamingo would have went first and then the Skarmory. But because Skarmory went first, it actually didn't use Whirlwind. But we do not want it to use Dual Wing Beat either. So that's why we make sure that we knock it down. Then we use our X speed to put it back. It's technically not required to outspeed anything, but we do actually want Flamingo to move first because it is slightly faster to do that.
Yeah, and we have not really anything else to do here.
Here, there's a chance Lucha can die, which is completely fine.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty normal.
Yeah,
when the Halucha's at half HP, you're almost always going to see the Bullet Punch. That's completely
Yeah, but that's fine. We can then bring in Meowstic and then make sure that this...
that Skarmory continues to not use Whirlwind on us.
Well, actually, no. Well, actually, yeah, it can use Whirlwind. Actually, no, it can't use Whirlwind. Well, it shouldn't use Whirlwind because we only have 2 Pokemon left.
No,
And,
true. The Encore ends
But
anyways.
we still don't want it to do anything, so...
Yeah, and as a bonus, that Skarmory does have Sturdy, so we need to break Sturdy anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Conveniently,
these little things are just adding up.
Yeah. If Halucha didn't die, then Halucha would be the Pokemon that would break Sturdy, and then it would just Encore the Skarmory again, just to make sure it doesn't use anything else. Body Press is... Actually, no. Stealth Rock is arguably the best move that it could use, because then it just does nothing, but Body Press is, like, the second best. It would be a bit awkward if it was Dual Wing Beat, because that's just, like... It's just double kick move-wise animation, except it's actually kind of strong and annoying. And,
I haven't seen Dual Wing Beat in a while. I'm sure I've seen it before, but...
I've seen it. It sucks. Yeah, but now we close combat it. It is a bit of a range, so that's why we're actually going to be doubling up with Psychic as well.
Yeah, in fact, I missed the range the other day.
Yeah.
But yeah, Psychic just taps it in pretty comfortably. That's Amorous. And so, again, the one thing that could go wrong is if that Skarmory Whirlwinds turn 1. So if you avoid that, the fight is pretty simple and it's on rails, and then you're kind of in the clear. You're just holding your breath for the literal longest first turn in the whole game. That is 67 seconds of don't use Whirlwind, please. And you're just sitting there through all those animations being like, okay.
Yeah. Thankfully, if you do see Whirlwind, I thought it was going to be like, oh god, this is a complicated fight. Actually, no, it turns out to be very simple afterwards. It's only annoying if you get Whirlwind the second turn on Flamingo, and then that's where the fight starts to get tricky.
Yeah. But that's
because then you have
that's
both
why we
Halucha
encore.
and Meowstic on the board
On
at
the
the same
field.
time, and it's like, what do I do here? And you just cry. But thankfully, that rarely happens. It's like the Skarmory is most likely to go for either Stealth Rock or Body Press. Stealth Rock if it wants to do setup, or Body Press if it sees because it sees the KO on And this is actually why it's better to have Dugtrio as the second here instead of Hawlucha. Because while it is technically faster for Dugtrio, the other opposing Dugtrio, to use Earthquake instead of Iron Head, to use Iron Head instead of Earthquake, it will mean that the Skarmory will be going for dual Wing Beats instead, and that was annoying. And also, we can't then encore it because, Hawlucha's then dead. So that's why.
As I fly to Coastal Plaza, you want to help us catch our breath with any donations or incentive updates that you have for us, as we are now halfway through the Elite Four?
No donations right now. We are sitting at a absolutely massive $3,780 total raised, which is absolutely unbelievable. We pushed our new goal up to the $4,000 mark. We do also have one incentive left open, which is for saving or killing the animals, and saving the animals is still well ahead. So if you want to influence that incentive, do !D in the chat, and you can donate towards that.
Yeah, I put my $10 in towards that.
Are you team save or team kill?
I was team kill just to make it a fun race. I mean, the Easter Bunny didn't give me any gifts this year, so like, what the heck is that?
Easter Bunny is not in charge of gifting gifts. It's Santa Claus. That's Santa.
Okay. Controversial opinion. Does anybody actually like Peeps? I know it's just marshmallow with a bunch of sugar on top, but it's just like, are they really that good?
Oh, American garbage that I don't know.
Yeah, Peeps are just these like, it's just these they're just marshmallows with like coated sugar.
But that sounds horrible.
I was saying, like, I mean, it's not that I like hate Peeps. I would just rather have like a Reese's egg.
Anyway,
stale Peeps are good? No way.
All right, this trial is pretty simple. You pick the right answer. It's just Levincia again.
Listen, if there were s'mores flavored Peeps, I think I would like them.
This is to me the most boring trial.
I love this trial actually so much.
Like, I like the theme, which is the same thing that plays for Crispin.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
this is why I like this trial, because it is not easy. Like, you have to click the right thing, and the Pokemon are moving around, so...
Oh my god, clicking the right thing, that's so hard. Especially when you know all the answers already.
What? No, are you kidding? No, what the... I didn't copy the answers from the teacher beforehand. What?
No. You didn't copy from the teacher. You copied from me.
Listen, this is true, but I wasn't
going
to reveal myself. I ain't no snitch, bro. Like, I wasn't going to just be like, yeah, Christ has got the homework for me. Then you would get in trouble with Miss Finster.
Also, I wasn't paying attention. You know which one it was? I forgot.
I'm just going to guess.
Hey, let's go.
Whoa, I got it right. Wow.
Yeah, so...
Also, I just want to say, like, hashtag not sponsored, but Starburst jelly beans are pretty peak.
I'm just gonna say that if these quiz questions were somewhat randomized, I would have actually find these to be more enjoyable, because you actually have to pay attention to the questions.
It does remind me of the Blaine quiz time from Let's Go.
Yeah, but even that one is like, you just answer the same thing. Like, one of my speedruns that I do...
What's TM28? Tombstoney.
Like, so one of my other speedruns I do, because I also do games outside of Pokemon, I do a speedrun of a little game known as Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games in 2010, Vancouver, and that game in the story mode speedrun actually has a quiz. It's a yes or no question, but here's the kicker. While we do know all the questions are randomized, meaning you actually have to read the question to actually be like to say answer yes or no, which is actually my favorite. And the other thing is that some questions are tricky because only sometimes it's just the same question twice, but it's just the last word that changes. So you have to figure out if it's like yes or no, which is really interesting. But that's a story for a future time. Anyway,
Yeah.
Lacey.
But now we're at the Lacey. Lacey isn't too bad. And this is one of the fights where the Flamigo's ability matters, and Scrappy is definitely the preferred ability here.
Oh yeah, no, this fight is so much better with Scrappy than it is with Tangled Feet because you don't have to X attack twice. You only need to X attack once with Scrappy, which is really, really nice because now +2 pretty much OHKOs everything in Lacey's team, whereas +1 would not do that. So you see light screen.
By the way, the X items do go 2 stages, in case you're unfamiliar, which is effectively like doubling the stats. Whereas Intimidate just lowers by 1 stage. So if we were Tangled Feet, we would take the 1 stage drop and then X attack to what we call it would be +1. Which is just a 50% boost, and that's just not good enough. We would have to go to that 150 marker.
Yeah, so here we have special defense because this Whimsicott can be annoying. We would just keep this Whimsicott alive as it does actually do the least amount of damage, despite the fact it does have Moonblast, which is kind of hurty. But everything else is actually a bigger threat.
Yeah, the Flamigo is a fighting type, so we are weak to Fairy, but there are just... Yeah, we give the opponent the support Pokemon, which is more likely to die. So I don't know. The AI is influenced by being like, oh, I see a kill, I'll take a kill.
Yeah. Here we actually do use an X speed. This is also something that we're gonna discuss a little bit. It's known as dynamic speed. Normally, if you did this in like Let's Go or something, you would not get the speed boost in this turn, but thankfully, since Generation 8, dynamic speed has been a thing where the speed changes are calculated on the fly, which is great because we don't have to, because we might not have to, because this Whimsicott does have the move Tailwind, which can be a bit iffy, and I know for a fact that you will be needing to XP next turn.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, so Tailwind is a move that doubles the speed stat on your side of the field. And the Excadrill, which is about to come out, does naturally outspeed the Flamigo. At the moment, we have +2 speed, or double speed, but if the Whimsicott, which has the ability Prankster, which allows for non-damaging moves to have priority, go first, the Excadrill will get the 100% boost in speed, and because of the dynamic speed, will then outspeed us, and we don't want that to happen. So we are safely going to +4 speed, so that way, in case we see Tailwind, we are still going to move first.
Yeah, we want to do that because Excadrill will kill us. This is a 252 attack Excadrill, by the way.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is very much like baby's first VGC test here, because like these Pokemon have not only like competitive move sets, but also competitive items and some strategies, and it can be quite challenging for casual players, kind of like myself. If I went into this without a plan, I would be like, oh, this is actually like really hard.
Yeah. Oh, this is actually a very interesting. It actually has the Assault Vest item. Interesting. It's an Assault Vest Excadrill.
I got chip damage off against the Whimsicott, right?
Yeah, you still fake out because it could still go for a priority move.
Whatever, fine. I was just gonna hit Psychic.
Like it did right now.
Oh, you're right. It did go for Tailwind. Whatever. Or Light Screen.
Yeah.
Good call.
It's like,
good call. See, I listened.
Yeah, that's why you should listen to me, because I know these things. Like these Pokemon like to troll. Sometimes they just like to waste your time a little bit.
That's
but yeah, like these things are like interesting. Like Granville with Expert Bell, Primarina with Throat Spray, Alcremie with Leftovers, Slowbro with a Citrus Berry. Like these are
Like there was some good thought put into crafting these teams.
I think like the only like question mark I have for these teams is especially the Assault Vest Blaziken from Crispin. And like some weird EVs that they have, but aside from that, like all these are like really good. Even like the next one, like Drayton, like Max Speed Flygon, Bulky Dragon, like even like another, I guess, interesting choice that they decide to do, which really annoys us speedrunners, is that the Whimsicott has, for some reason, 252 HP, 252 defense, plus defense nature. Even though it has a focus sash. It's kind of an interesting choice, but hey, at least it doesn't have 252 special attack, and that Moonblast hits a lot harder, so...
I just love hearing people who know about VGC talk about VGC. I don't know nearly as much, but I love to hear these strats. Like, obviously, you know that I'm more of a TCG player myself.
Same, but this is just me reading the strats, the stats on the data, on the the trainer data, which is why I figured out the hard way that the reason why Flamingo needs to hit a specific level by Amorous and also be max attack the entirety, because fun little fact, that Reuniclus can be a range at lower levels, even at +2.
All I know is that Crispin is the best of the TCG cards of the Elite Four. Crispin's kind of broken in the TCG.
Oh no, Crispin is stupid.
Crispin is so stupid. It's get two energy cards of different colors from your deck. One goes to hand and one is accelerated in play. Any energy acceleration in the current format is actually very good right now.
I'm gonna say this as someone who's actually been in the TCG since 2017. A card like that in any other format would actually kind of be like bad. No, it would. It would be considered too slow. But this is actually like a really interesting format where the slowness is actually to its favor. Like, believe me, we had
the whole Badoo item lock, and then Crispin set up behind. There's not like we had good energy acceleration right now, especially without Mirage Gates.
Like, believe me, we had dumber energy acceleration back then. We had a card called Max Elixir. You want to know what that does?
Please remind me. I've heard this card came up in conversation like 2 days ago.
Max Elixir. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Choose one basic energy you find there and attach it to one of your bench basic Pokemon.
So dumb. That's really bad. That can't be that good unless you're running like a billion energy. That's just worse electric generator.
No, but here's the thing. You might think that, but it's universal. It's any basic energy. So any deck can play it. Any basic deck, and believe me, basic decks were some of the best decks in format back then.
Anyways, would you like to know? Please explain this trial, which is the fun trial.
It just stopped snowing.
It just stopped snowing.
So this trial is pretty unique. We actually have to use non-Pokemon that we caught in the terrarium. Hence, why we are using Alolan Dugtrio and Meowstic here. So we picked up a couple of items in the main game, being the Muscle Band and the Air Balloon. Muscle Band allows us to do more damage, and Air Balloon allows us to avoid Earthquake, which is really nice. And the main reason why it's very important for it to not snow is this trainer has ice Pokemon, and in this game they actually changed a bit of the weather. There's no such thing as hail anymore. It is snow. And what snow does is increases the physical defense of all ice types by 50%, which is not ideal, if in my opinion. But if it's not snowing, we don't have to deal with it.
And remind me, the Sand Slash has Snow Cloak as well.
Yeah, it does have. It's either called Snow Cloak or Snow Veil. I forget which one it's called.
Yeah.
I forget what it's exactly
So you might miss the Sand Slash, and then the Dugong is a range in the snow. But with the weather being semi-random, and it's very likely that it's snowing in this area, with the snow stopping, you fight this trainer immediately. Otherwise, you actually do the other two first in hopes that your weather will change.
Yeah. But with
Leave
the
it to
weather
the
being
meteorologist to
immediately-
be like, I knew it was going to stop snowing just in time for this trainer that I'm fighting.
Yeah. But this is where we're going to see the other useful thing of Meowstic. We've seen this before, being able to break sturdy. This is also the case where actually being a priority move is actually a really big deal for Fake Out, as we can essentially fake out the Pokemon with sturdy and then Earthquake it, and it won't proc the ability. That was actually a bit of a problem with the Flygon plus Alolan Mukro, where you would still trigger the sturdy, and then you have to have your Alolan Muk use like a dark move to knock it out. But thankfully, the combination of Dugtrio and Meowstic is so good. I love the fact that Meowstic is like low-key. Meowstic is one of my favorite Gen 6 Pokemon.
It really grew on me, especially doing this run. Like, I really, really love Meowstic now.
Like, something to note is that in 2016, I actually did play VGC on the 3DS. And Meowstic was one of my favorite Pokemon to use. Not because it just had Fake Out, which it did, but it also had something which it lost somewhere in Gen 8 or Gen 9, which is it had Prankster Gravity.
That's pretty funny.
And so I combined it with Kyurem White and Primal Groudon to make sure that my Blizzard and Precipice Blades don't miss. And now the fact that we get to use also male Meow, like, it was also kind of interesting that only male Meowstic actually had the hidden ability Prankster. The female one had competitive, but yeah, Meowstic is just definitely like one of my favorite Pokemon that we never get to use in the speedrun, with the exception of this game, because it's one trait. Actually, it does use all three of its four moves, but it's just Fake Out is just too good of a move to not have in this kind of speedrun.
Yeah, did we mention that, like, for Drayton's trial, he says that we are only allowed to use Pokemon we caught in the terrarium.
No, that's the first thing I mentioned.
Oh, yeah. I was just, like, in the zone. I really was so focused on trying to do that menu fast, so that way it didn't start snowing again. Because, look at it, in the time that I started the first battle to end the third battle, the snow came back.
Yeah.
So I was just, like, really focused on trying to do that menu very speedy.
Reminder to match B.
Oh, yeah,
because
I'm always on the B button here.
Because, yes.
Drayton's gonna allow our other Pokemon back, but he first asks us if we want to just jump into battle, as the other Elite Four members do. And in this case, we have to say no so he could go get the Flamigo back.
Yeah, it's like Flamigo is just taking its, nice little rest.
Yeah,
because
I mean, even LeBron James doesn't play all 48 minutes.
Yeah. So now we put back, but we also bring back an extra special guest. Which is the fact that we have Bacon. And Lechonk is actually going to be very useful. It's actually very funny that on the same two Pokemon next to each other, we have both our highest level Pokemon and our lowest level Pokemon simultaneously right next to each other.
So I'm not a big fan of Mayo, and I'm not really the biggest fan of Peeps, but boy, do I love Bacon. How about you, chat? Any Bacon fans in chats? Because I sure hope that Dragonites love Bacon. Like, seriously, I really hope Dragonites really like Bacon.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't like bacon, but he likes pork, then that works too.
You know what? Fair.
If he doesn't like either of those, then
then it was just like...
And to be fair, Drayton is known to troll you specifically.
Yeah, me specifically. So Drayton definitely has the most, like, on-rails strategy, and it should, in theory, be the safest, but I've had some of the wildest Drayton battles in memory here, and it usually happens when he's just in a vegetarian diet mood. I'm like, dude, of all the days to be on a diet, you mean now?
Yeah, so here we actually do an X speed first instead of an X attack. This Flygon can outspeed us in Breaking Swipe. We don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, because Breaking Swipe, I believe it hits both attacks, or both opponents.
It hits both, but that's not the problem. The problem is it drops our attack stat.
Yeah.
And
there, Bacon. Yeah, yum, 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 yum,
yum. Yeah, so we X speed here, and also Flygon is not very bulky. In fact, this Flygon is max speed, max attack with a life orb actually. So here's Kingdra. I actually don't know what Kingdra's item is, but it's meant to be like a swift swimmer. But thanks to our X speed, we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah,
and this is where Dragonite has
really
a choice.
Yeah, we really hope that Dragonite Ice Spinner is the Hawlucha, but it really seems super effective against both right now. And this is where things can get a little bit funky.
Like, it should see the kill on Hawlucha. I don't know why Ice Spinner's Flamingo. It's just weird.
Okay. I thought it leaned more to the right than usual. And I'm like, no, please.
But yeah, now we get the normal fight.
Okay, so now we're pretty much like in the good, because once again, Meowstic comes out just the right time for us to tap that Fake Out on, which is really nice here, especially because the Dragonite has multi-scale. Multi-scale just halves damage if full HP. And guess what?
Yep.
It's not full HP now, so when the Flamingo gets a turn, it's going to do full damage.
Yep, and this Dragonite is, despite being a bulky Dragonite, is not bulky enough.
The Haxorus is Focus Sashed, if I'm not mistaken.
It is Focus Sash, so you do have to double kick it. And then here we do actually do a quick dodge. Not only is it a really fast move animation, but also if this Dragonite wants to be funny and go for E-Speed, yeah, it's not going to do that. Yeah, it's like, no, but it's going for Ice Spinner. It should Ice Spinner the Meowstic. Ideally. It can Ice Spinner the Flamingo, which is
I think
fine.
it did.
It did.
It's fine.
Ooh.
It's fine for two reasons. One, I can
Okay,
just
you
heal on
have
this
to
turn.
do it, though.
Fine. I also, funny enough, this Flamingo is actually, it's
Don't low kick.
Yeah, I paused myself on that. Don't worry.
I love. Don't worry. I love this. I was like, oh, Chowdon is heavy, right? No, it's not.
Yeah, it was very weird. I know my instinct to steal, but no, this is the one that gets the terrestrialized dragon.
It's not even just that. It's like you would expect that, being a metal bridge, it'd be heavy, but turns out low kick is like 80 base power or something.
That's so weird. Anyways, I was actually just gonna say the I have max HP on this Flamingo, which is not intended, but it was just the random one I got.
Yeah, so our attack and speed are consistent, but our bulk isn't, and we do like to have at least a decent amount of bulk, but isn't quite guaranteed. Nice tailwind, buddy.
Yeah. I should not get
extreme. Not that matters, because you still outspeed you.
Yeah, I remember this from one of the weird fights I got, where it tailwinded early, and then the Sceptile outspeed.
Yeah, so Flamingo, if I remember, everything but Dragonite and Archaludon outspeeds you with XP plus Tailwind. And that would be like if you get early Tailwind, then you would probably have to X speed, which is kind of fine. He shouldn't X attack. He shouldn't Tailwind unless it's like on the same turn that Flamingo and Hawlucha is in play, and even then there's like, okay, just burn an X speed, it's fine. We bought extras for this reason. Like, the only X item we didn't buy extras is X special defenses. Like, that's the one that we didn't buy extras. We buy exactly enough, but for X speeds and X attacks, we kind of knew that it can go wrong, or like some weird stuff could happen, and oh, nice Blizzard. And so we want to kind of like make sure that we have at least some spare. Like, to be fair, the reason why we have spares for X attacks and X speed is actually for a lazy reason, being the fact that it is faster to buy 21 X attacks and 11 X speeds than it is to buy the specific number. But we just don't have the money to buy 11 X special defenses, so we just buy exactly 3.
It also works out just barely in our favor to save exactly 1 input on the fight, because once we run out of X special defenses, the X speeds are then just an input closer. Just small little teeny tiny little optimization.
Yeah, but our optimizations are good optimizations at the end of the day.
But there we go. We've beaten the Elite Four. Again,
now
all very tricky battles. They've all been pretty good to us. but they all pale in comparison to the champion. So for everybody out there, would certainly love any bless emotes, any pray emotes, any kind of good luck and good RNG that you have for us, because the Kieran fight can go very badly, very fast. This is easily the most dangerous fight of not only this category, but of the whole game, of all the across all the categories. Like, this one's super dangerous.
Yeah, I think the only thing that comes close is like maybe Metacham Teal Mask stuff where Zen Headbutt misses can be bad, but
Arvin and Path of Legends if you have a bad
that's like no, actually okay. Yeah,
wait, that fight's actually very bad.
Does actually put this fight in close comparison, but yeah. The reason why this fight is scary is mainly has to do with Kieran's Dragonite. Unlike Drayton's Dragonite, who's kind of like their support, this Dragonite is the offensive thing. That thing has a Hurricane, and thanks to Politoed, that thing is never going to miss. So we want to put the Hawlucha there. Not the Hawlucha, the Lechonk there to bait it to go for it, because if Flamigo dies turn 1, you're losing 3 minutes.
Yeah, I am reset. I mean, I get the auto save before talking to the attendant.
Yes, you still lose 3 minutes.
Yeah, because I have to go through this whole cutscene all over again.
And also the text boxes again.
I mean, unless chat was just like, oh, I want to see this cutscene again. Then root for Kieran, but otherwise root for me.
I don't think Game Over Cancer would be happy about seeing a 3-minute cutscene again.
It's fine. I'm actually doing very good. I do have my splits up. I'm on 203 pace. So I'm
no.
I
feel
very
like you can
comfortably
definitely
underestimate. Like,
oh yeah, no, I believe you can 205 this.
That is, but well.
But that depends on Kieran. Like, that's why the estimate's 215. Blame Kieran.
Yeah. I mean, that's standard for RPG runs, is to give yourself a little bit more leeway. Plus, I mean, we want to have fun too.
Yeah,
but yeah,
this is the turn where we just have to
and
be passive, unfortunately.
So, yep. So we're gonna go X attack, X special defense, pass, and hope that dragons like their bacon.
Yeah. So
I have 3 strats. Strat 0 is called reset.
Yeah. Let's see what strat we are. Extreme speed, good. Wait, it's still not over. There's still one more thing that can go wrong.
Yeah, so the Politoed usually goes for Weather Ball, and Weather Ball in the rain is
100 base power water type move, rain boosted, and stab boosted. If it crits, our minus
yeah.
2
if it crits,
that's fine.
Okay. We lose. Is it Hawlucha or Dugtrio?
Lucha.
Yep.
It's Lucha and Dugtrio.
Yeah, I saw Dugtrio. I'm like, that's a line ahead, I think.
Yeah. Technically, the order doesn't really matter, but yeah, now we go to +4, which allows us to knock out this Dragonite in 1 hit and also be useful for the rest of the fight. Because this Dragonite also does have multi-scale, and we get rid of it. Actually, we do so much damage that the multi-scale doesn't matter.
Yeah. So now it is more likely that this Politoed is going to start KOing our partner. But yeah, if we get crits into the Flamigo, it's just very bad, very fast. Yeah. Now
there's another
here. This is very important. We X speed this turn because.
Ah yes, this Porygon Z took some inspiration from Cynthia's Elite Four Round 3 team, where this thing not only has Hyper Beam, but it's Adaptability Hyper Beam with a Life Orb. This is a nuke in
yeah, that's Porygon fast AF, boy.
And it's also very fast as well. It has max speed. I think it has 252 special attack. I don't know if it's timid or modest, but if it's modest, then yeah, everything just gets blown to smithereens. Like, nothing is surviving that Hyper Beam. Well, actually, Flamigo can if it's at full health, but according to
I am max HP, but I'm also minimum special defense, so I would not be living that.
Maybe not.
Meowstic is perfect here because Fake Out into Grimmsnarl is absolute chef's kiss for 2 reasons. One, it went for Reflect because it's Prankster ability, and we don't want to see Reflect in this fight. 2, it has a Focus Sash, so we break the Focus Sash. I mean, that is double utility out of Fake Out in that exact moment. Here,
then-
we actually do kind of want the Meowstic to die. This is the reason why we bring the Miraidon into this battle. It is a little bit slower to do it this way, but it's a result of wanting to have the Miraidon get the maximum amount of experience for a still later yet fight.
So you can either go for a risky strat or a safety strat. Depends on how much you respect Incineroar's Fake Out.
I'm just gonna go for the Power Gem into Politoed.
Risky it is.
Yeah, I got Fake Out here.
This should be fine.
It's fine,
It's
even if
fine because
the...
you can just go offensive from here as long as Flamingo lives.
Yeah, Flamingo lives, then I just heal on this turn, right?
You don't heal. You don't have to heal. You can just fight. No, nothing has priority.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Now I go for the Electro Draft.
Yeah. And this should kill.
This came up last time, actually. You were in chat when I had this battle, and I didn't realize that I didn't need to heal on this turn.
Right. This should kill. Assuming this should. It's like it was like. Remember, if I remember, this doing the damage count was like 87. But yeah.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah, this came up last time, and it was like, why are you healing? That is literally a wasted turn. Nothing has priority.
Is it
Actually,
slightly
the only
better
thing
to...
that have priority in this team is Dragonite's E-Speed, which we killed at turn 1.
Can I
Grimstone
just low,
and
can I
Frankston
low kick
move.
the Hydrapple here? Because
Yes.
yeah, because that would just be faster than Acrobatics. Because Acrobatics is going to give us super effective text.
You already have super effective text.
Yeah, but it
remember,
still
you
gives
elect-
us super effective text.
Yeah, it's like slightly faster.
Power Gem.
And then doesn't matter. Just Miraidon
Yeah.
does whatever it wants.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if
This
the Miraidon
time we are
outspeeds.
faster than Flamingo is faster because remember we XP.
Oh, yeah, true.
So a little thing about this Miraidon, you might notice in the first fight that Miraidon was slower than Flamingo, but in the second fight, Miraidon was actually faster than Flamingo in the Crispin fight. Yeah, so we actually make sure that our Flamingo is exactly 1 point faster than Miraidon / Koraidon in the Carmine fight, so that Flamingo can always go first and do the faster move animations.
That's neat. You want to know
this is
something
because-
weird, Crisis? I've never seen the Hydrapple in the right slot from Kieran. Because I've never killed Incineroar or Politoed at the same time. So Kieran put the Hydrapple out in my right, his left. I've only ever seen it in my left, his right.
Yeah, I know. I have in the so a little thing to know is that we wouldn't really use Miraidon in this if we weren't using Miraidon for the final fight because of the Terra type thing, which we'll get to when we get there. So I will talk a little bit about the Koraidon version, where in Koraidon we actually want the Meowstic to live the Politoed, but then die once Incineroar comes in, so that Koraidon can then come in and use Collision Course to one-hit KO the Incineroar. So instead of Meowstic has two kind of strats where one strat is make sure that the Meowstic lives, and the other strat is which Violet does, which make the Meowstic die. Meowstic die is only a Violet exclusive strat. Scarlet always wants Meowstic to live the Weather Ball from Politoed as much as it can. But yeah, this is
That was
Blueberry Academy.
I will
It's
say that was super clean for the whole Blueberry Academy section here. Like this was probably just like the most straightforward I've seen my battles. Like, yeah, the strats are all there, but usually like one of them will kind of go astray. For example, my PB, it's Drayton, that just absolutely goes haywire on me. And then everything else is like completely fine. But this is like the first time that I've had like a very straightforward Blueberry Academy section. Like all those strats were pretty much like the normal strats, and I didn't have to really deviate or recover or go deep into my flowcharts for any of those. So that is certainly certainly worthy of a clap for sure. Like this run, it's hard to really showcase in an RPG like how fast a run is, but like I can't state, like, this run is really fast right now. This is like the
Yeah, this
fastest
is
I've
actually
done
like
it all week.
a fast run. Like Tech has been telling us, we need to hurry up. We're like 5 minutes late, and it's like, yeah, don't worry, we're gonna.
That's
be like
okay. I'll
10
just save a full 13 minutes in my speed run. Like, it'll be
Yeah.
good.
Speaking of which, like the time right now might say like 128, assuming I actually get this timing right on the layout. Yeah, we still have a lot more. We still have a bit more of a speed run. We may have done the Blueberry Academy portion, but this DLC is called the Hidden Treasures of Area Zero. So yeah, we are going back to Hidden Treasures of Area Zero, which kind of gave me an idea for a category extension while I was thinking about this game. What if there was like a category where you make a save file after beating the main game, and then your goal is using only the Pokemon you catch in Kitakami and Terrarium to beat the 2 DLC Pokemon?
Yeah, that's something that keeps getting floated around. Even like Shen, who was supposed to be here but is enjoying some time with his family today. Shen has suggested that. It's also floated around like Etiquette and Spider and many of the other like incredible, overall great Pokemon speedrunners have thought like this would be like a really interesting like way to play the game, because our Flamigo is very overpowered. It's incredibly good in any percent, and then we just go all into it for like these extended categories. Yeah, it'd be super interesting to see how that would manage itself and how the routing would look if we could only use Pokemon within the terrarium. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, we'll see if it ever. I know Shen does like a lot of does catch them all, or at least was routing catch them all for Indigo Disc. I don't know where the progress of that has gone, but he has talked about some of the things where he would actually do some of the things in the teal. So in the Teal Mask, for those who don't know, it is actually level scaling in the Teal Mask, but it works exactly the same as Sword and Shield level DLC. Level capping.
There's just a before endgame or after endgame.
So in Sword and Shield, the only thing that the game checks for is have you done the Darkest Day. That's when it changes from level 10s to level 60. This game, it checks have you beaten AI say have you done like the whole Area Zero post game thing. Like that is like the check where the game's like, oh, you've done this. All right, time to put the level cap of everything high for the Teal Mask. Which is kind of interesting. It's kind of like they try to design the Teal Mask for both, like, post-game as well as, like, part of your journey, which is definitely interesting. We do the Teal Mask before the credits, mainly because dealing with things that are level 20 with a level 70 Flamigo is a lot easier than dealing it with against level 70 Pokemon. Not to mention, some of the trainers actually have some of the competitive items, like, do you know Carmine Shiftry? No, Carmine. Kieran Shiftry. Yeah,
wait,
you know it has a
Kieran
focus
Shiftry or
back?
Carmine? No, I thought Carmine has the Shiftry.
No, Kieran Shiftry. Yeah, you know that
Kieran
Shiftry?
Yeah.
You know that? It actually does go for Fake Out at level 70. Instead of... And B, it has Focus Sash.
Oh boy. That Kieran fight is no slouch.
Also,
even in the
Carmine's
regular version when he's in like the
boy.
40s instead of the 70s.
Well, actually, actually in Teal Mask, nothing goes above 40. Like, the highest level Pokemon is 38 by Kieran.
Oh, that's what I thought it was 40.
No, it doesn't go up above 40.
Interesting.
I just have this knowledge in my head. Don't ask why.
As we're making our way back to Area Zero, I think this is a good just kind of last opportunity to get any just updates to any incentive or donations. Just give chat a chance to show some love to the Canadian Cancer Society. I just say that because we're still kind of in like a long cutscene here.
I guess we can
That
still
that or I mean first of all, shout outs to the crew for putting this together. They might just have stepped away, or helping get the next runners ready. So I'll just keep going if they come back. They're more than welcome to interrupt me into here. But yeah, we do have our reintroduction into Area 0, except this time we have brought our DLC companions with us.
Yeah, and also we can actually ride the motorcycle here because Miraidon's no longer afraid.
True.
And so we're just gonna jump all the way to the... It's interesting that we actually end up at Research Station 1 instead of, like, where we would normally end up.
Beginning.
Like, it's definitely a choice. Like, I don't know why Pokemon made this choice, but, you know, I'm not gonna say no. It's technically slightly better. But yeah, we're just gonna head back to the entrance of where the any percent portion would have ended.
Right
this
here.
would be like, you know, roughly 6.5 hours.
Landed perfectly on the platform.
Like this, like Area 0 would first be done like, what is it, 6.5? Actually, I can figure this out. I can just open my splits.
Yeah, just open up your splits.
Like, when do we get to like Research Station 1 in like Mochi Mayhem? I don't need my Legends Arceus splits. So I was doing that runs, trying to improve my time because I'm getting ready myself to do a Switch Quinfecta, but that's the future point. Anyway, where's Mochi?
You guys and your Switch Quinfectas. As somebody who also runs all the Switch games.
Yeah, where the hell is it? My first Indigo disc split set. Well, not Indigo disc. So yeah, first time we'd be here would be about the 6-ish hour mark. Like 6:12 is when we beat Arvin, so about 6:15 is when we would normally be here in a normal Indigo disc speedrun, and then you'd be coming
like
back
6:30
here.
For me and my slow hands.
Would be about, what is it? 8:40 is when I have like the insert Indigo disc split. The insert Indigo disc, so about 8:35 is when you'll be coming back here. So definitely like a very long speedrun, and maybe, who knows? Like, the world record's on 9:08, and it is technically possible for me to improve this time a lot further because I made mistakes and stuff, you know.
You know what's gonna happen? The Switch 2, my
Switch
friend.
2.
Switch 2.
Yeah, Switch 2 might make sub 9 possible.
Switch 2 might make a lot of things. I mean, Switch 2 might just give Scarlet and Violet a big speedrunning boost. It has been confirmed.
People can actually buy the console.
Yeah, it has been confirmed that Scarlet and Violet is going to get a free Switch 2 like upgrade
patch. No, it's getting a patch.
Yeah. So, but
like,
I mean,
it's not getting like one of those fancy like Switch 2 edition bundles. It's just getting a patch that will apparently improve performance. We'll see how that works.
Yeah.
Because
like,
we've been promised.
We're no stranger to, you know, the deficiencies of the game.
Watch it makes it. It'll be really funny if it actually makes it worse.
Hold on. Let me just say, like, I'm not a negative person, but like, as a speedrunner, like, you have to understand the deficiencies of a game and then also how to handle or mitigate or minimize all of that. So when it comes to the well-known lag, like, there are moments where, like, we literally stare at the ground, or like do a zoomed in view. It's the ZL button. It's basically like we would do like that with the camera to minimize other things that could spawn or be loaded on the screen to help minimize that lag. And like, all those little considerations matter big time in a game that lag is so important to minimize. Like, it's not just, oh, I have a couple lag frames here or there. Like, it's something you're managing through the whole run. And when you have a 9-hour run potentially, like, it can make a huge, that's minutes of difference you're talking about.
Or 11 if you're doing Mochi Mayhem. If you're wondering why is Mochi Mayhem 11 hours long, well, you actually have to do one other thing that most people have forgotten about, which is
there's an
epilogue. There is actually not just the epilogue. There's actually an hour between you starting the epilogue and you actually beating the Indigo disc and you starting the epilogue, and that's because there is something that you actually have to do, which I think most people have forgotten, is the Scarlet and Violet base game post game.
I forgot about that too. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've ever done the Scarlet Violet post game. Base game.
It's somewhat interesting because you actually do rematch all of the gym leaders and they all have like a level 65 team, but at that point your Flamigo's level 98 and you just like, have fun. Although, to be fair, there is actually one funny thing. It does have the one fight where being level 100 actually matters.
That's cool. Yeah, we finished this run at level 98. Super cool.
Yeah. But in that category, the Iono rematch, which funnily enough, we fight Iono first in this first gym leader.
In the regular game.
Is actually it's the last gym leader we rematch because being level 100 actually matters.
That's so cool to me.
Actually, the cool thing about the gym leader rematch is we actually kind of fight the gym leaders in reverse order of how we fight them in any percent. So in like any percent in this category, we do what? Iono, Brassius, Larry, Kofu, then Katie, then Tulip, then Grusha, then Rhyme. In the rematches, we do Rhyme, then Grusha, then Larry, then Kofu, then Katie, then Tulip. So those four are the same order. And then we do Brassius and then Iono. Really cool.
All right, VGC man. What the heck is the Stellar type?
All right, so
I think I still don't know to this day.
So the Stellar type, in terms of a speed run, means nothing. It just means that they have a small power. It just means that the final fight has a small power boost. But don't worry. But that's all you have to know. But in actual VGC terms, the Stellar type doesn't change your defensive type. It just gives every single move that you use of a different type a boost, but only once. And depending on your original typing, take for example,
this seems very complicated.
Okay, let's take for example this Glomora. When this Glomora Stellar Terrored, it still kept its original defensive typing of Rock Poison. It doesn't change defensive, but offensively, it will gain a boost to every single move, but only once per type. So it will gain
it gets stab at everything, but only once.
Yes. But it gets a 50% boost if the type matches its original type, but only a 20% boost if it doesn't match.
Oh, okay.
And you only get the boosts once. So after you use it once, you won't get it ever again. And as for a Stellar type move, the only Stellar type move in the game, aside from the legendary, is Terra Blast when it becomes Stellar Terra Blast. And if you're wondering what it hits for weakness, or for super effective damage, the answer is it doesn't hit a type for super effective damage. But it does hit terrestrial Pokemon for super effective damage.
Oh, that's right. Like, what was the answer to this again?
So it's less of a... but it is very powerful because, having a move that just hits everything neutrally, no resists, pretty strong. Like, the best speedrun Pokemon don't actually hit a lot of things for super effectively. They hit everything neutrally, ideally.
Yeah. It's like, as long as we have an answer to most everything, we're pretty much good. It's funny enough, it's like, there's only 2 Pokemon in the game that this Flamigo doesn't hit for neutral effective. They are both flying electric types.
Yes. And it's the Iono's Wattrel and Larry's Oricorio. Or if you're playing Mochi Mayhem, it's also Iono's Killer Wattrel.
It's really funny because that sometimes comes up in like a lot of runs. Like in Let's Go, it's the Starmie can't hit Executor for neutral effective.
But thankfully for Flamigo, those Pokemon aren't exactly bulky, so we can just hit them for just big damage, and we'll be completely fine. Like technically, if we want Scrappy, Steel Ghost types would also resist us, but thankfully there's only one in this game, and no one has it, so you don't have to deal with it. It's everyone's favorite cheese string Pokemon.
Dude, Golden Go has still been my favorite TCG deck to play recently. Oh, I did
no,
that.
Golden.
I did that poorly. What the heck? I missed.
No. Just go for the second rock. It's fine. Just fly there. If you do a full jump then glide, you will always make it to the second rock without needing to climb.
Yeah, I think I panicked.
You always have to climb up here. That's a guarantee. But you can always make it to the second rock when
Never
when
missed
you
that
jump
before. That was embarrassing. Oh well, there goes that this is a really good run. It's really fast, everybody. She just falls into the water and dies.
I mean, it's still fast, but yeah, you're still gonna. I still believe in the 205.
I was like, what the heck is that?
So yeah, it's actually kind of interesting that the Stellar type used to just be bad. Like, it's like, bad type, don't ever use it. The Wolfie VGC propaganda just says it, never use it, it's bad, don't use it, all that. But actually, with meta development, it actually started to become a bit more better. Like, Pokemon like Shenpao and Shenpao sometimes uses it, Fluttermane uses it, Hisuian Sneasler used it, even Rapid Strike Urshifu used it as well. It just kind of became where it's like, actually, that extra power, like, typically it's like, that extra power for other moves sometimes actually becomes worth using. But the Pokemon actually needs to have, like, decent coverage for it to actually be used, like, and also it shouldn't benefit from a defensive boost. So it's kind of like very interesting, very specific, but but it actually has some really funny interactions. Like, Wolfie had a Kingdra team, a Paris Trap team with Kingdra, and actually Kingdra is a very interesting user of the Stellar type, because it uses the move Weather Ball, and you can actually, like, the whole point is that in theory you're only supposed to have 4 boosts of the Stellar move, but if you use a Weather Ball in the Sun or in the Sandstorm or in the Hail, it actually turns into the a Rock move, a Ice move, and you actually get more benefits from that.
That's kind of neat.
It actually came up where he used the Stellar Terra Fire Weather Ball, Sunny Day Weather Ball on the Kingdra, so that he can then save the boost on the Water move for later. So it actually did come in handy.
I just play Raging Bolt on TCG, and it's pretty mid, but I play it well. Golden Go's pretty fun.
Yeah,
but I don't want to deal with the brown Ogerpon
of being Raging Bulk. Like, that's what its nickname. It has a nickname of called Raging Bulk by a lot of players. I mean, in fairness, I do kind of see where they're going for it, because in my opinion, it's just worse Goldengo.
It's easier to play. It's easier to play at an intermediate level.
It's faster Goldengo, but it's just worse Goldengo.
Yeah.
In my honest opinion.
Yeah, I don't want to play Goldengo right now because there's so many people in my locals that play Cornerstone Ogerpon, and you just auto-lose to that, and I just don't want to auto-lose to having too many people in my local meta playing that. So
I'll just play Dragapult like everyone else does.
I have been playing some Dragapult, and I am okay at the deck. So I just end up 2-1 every week anyways. Play Raging Bolt, 2-1. Play Golden Go, 2-1. Play Dragapult, 2-1. I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least I know where my skill level is. I won't play Gardevoir, though.
Yeah, it's like
I am not good at that deck.
Oh yeah, no, Gardevoir is like, both Gardevoir and Bolt, you need to have like 10, like, actually brain cells to play those decks.
I do like playing Dragapult more than... Like, I'll play Dragapult to give myself the challenge. And then I feel bad when I go, okay, unfair stamp, counter catcher, Badoo, your turn, and then watch them go draw pass for 4 turns in a row.
Yep.
I do feel bad doing that.
That's item lock for you, and turns out this is actually tame item lock. Item lock used to be a whole lot worse.
Yeah, at least the Badoo's only 30 HP until somebody Luxcapes it.
Imagine though you had a 2-price Pokemon who, for 1 energy attachment, does 30 damage and item locks you.
I love Seismitoad EX. I've heard rumors of this era of the game.
Oh, I joined just after this era, which is a thank God for me.
All right, I have one more menu to do.
Yep. Because now the Miraidon... Well, I guess you didn't have to do it here, but it's always a good thing to do it here.
It's better to do it here because then the Miraidon gets healed. Because this is where
Yeah,
we get
because
our heal.
actually, we're going to a fight where the only time this happens in the entire... Well, the only time aside from Mochi Mayhem where going from one fight to the next, you don't get healed. So it actually is important that after this first fight, we do check our HP, and we want to make sure it's at least over half.
Yeah. So we're going into the Terapagos section here. We'll get the baby one first under Kieran's control, and then we will have the massive, like, raid battle Terapagos, which is an unbelievably complicated fight, and it is the fight where the Terra type matters, quite simply because we're only going to be able to reasonably damage it while being terastallized, because that's just how the damage calculation works for that fight.
Before we do that, can I say a funny thing about the lore?
Yeah, sure.
So you know the final fight, where that Terapagos goes big? Yeah, according to the Violet book, Heath saw, not just survived, but saw the whole thing and lived to tell the tale.
Wow.
Which is kind of funny.
I hope that happens, because let me tell you, my friend, this cave looks like it's about to collapse and be our tomb in a second.
Yeah, 100 years ago, he saw this apparently in this cave, maybe, and just fun. And he survived, and he saw it and survived.
How dangerous can this little guy be?
And it is actually canonically just like how Ogerpon is canonically a girl, this is canonically a guy. Like, while it technically has a 50-50 gender ratio, this turtle will always be male when you catch it. It is quite literally a little guy.
He is just a little guy. Just before we start these last fight, I just want to see if we have the option to toss it over to the Game Over Cancer crew for any last-second donations or incentive updates.
No donations or incentive changes on our side of things right now. We are still just having the last incentive of the marathon left between Save the Animals and Kill the Animals. Save the Animals is still winning, and we are sitting at, like I said, $30,780, which is an unbelievably large amount that everyone has raised. So thank you again for everyone for contributing to the marathon so far.
Yeah, let's get at least 20 bucks before the end of the run. I know you can do that, chat. Let's try to get at least $20 in here, because obviously beating cancer is such a great cause. So let's get that done. You've got about 10 minutes. And I've got a handful of Terapagos phases to get through. The first is, I don't know, what is this, the Terra Shift phase?
Well, I just call this Kieran Terapagos.
Kieran Terapagos, yeah, because there's Plushy Terapagos, which has no battle mechanics whatsoever.
Yeah, so
that's what Wolfie called it. So like, that's pretty funny.
It's accurate. But yeah, here we're just gonna acrobatics. We would like to see a Zen headbutt miss.
I got that in practice for the first time ever the other day, and I was like,
10%. It can happen.
It can happen. But yeah, this is like one of the few spots where we don't get healed up before the not hyper potion.
Yeah, max
healed up between battles. So it is actually vital that we are topped off as much as possible. We can win the fight from here, but yeah, if we can dodge like one Zed headbutt, it's like really nice. Won't be the case, but like I said, this Flamigo has maximum HP, and that helps a little bit through this next phase.
I also want to kind of quickly mention about this Terapagos. Like this Terapagos was actually a bit awkward to kind of route, because obviously, all of the Hop Syndrome text boxes apply here, like, you know, the critical hits, the super effective.
Sure does.
And
Thanks, Carmine.
But also, you might not know this, but Briar has a text box that she says if the Terrapagos is at half HP. So I had to figure out how to deal with all this. Turns out, X attack acrobatic twice is perfect.
Like, you mean half HP through each phase?
No, in the Kirin Terrapagos, if it gets to half HP or below, it has a little extra text box being like, this isn't the true power of Terrapagos, but thankfully, I found a way to conveniently skip. There is actually a slightly riskier strat that I have toyed around with, which is you straight up acrobatics plus close combat, but that is a range to kill.
Right, because the Terrapagos is normally a normal type.
And let's just say if you get hit by a Zen Headbutt after the defense drops,
not great.
not great. So I decided to find something a little bit more consistent, and we did.
Yeah, this Terrapagos phase is like actually incredible. Like we said, this is the one phase where the Terra type will matter because terrestrialization is the effectively only way we're going to be able to do damage to it.
Yeah. So
the barrier that it puts
fight,
up, if you do like a normal attack, it's 1/5 the damage. But if you are Terra'd, then you are multiplied by 2. So you're effectively doing 20 times. Was it?
Well, not quite. So if you're doing damage normally, you're only doing 20% of the normal damage that you'll be doing, which is pathetic. If you are Terra, but you're not matching the Terra type, then you're actually doing the full 100% damage. It's only if you're Terra type and you're matching the Terra is when you're doing 200% of the damage.
Gotcha.
But going from 20% to 200%, you know, I think any math major or person would know that is actually like a massive increase.
Mm-hmm. So watch it. So the first phase of Terrapagos is still normal type. It is still faster to hit acrobatics because the super effective text is still like slower than the animation.
Yeah, thankfully no Hop Syndrome in this fight at all. Which is great.
Starstorm is good because it's
Zen Headbutt
is going to be the dangerous thing.
Yeah, Zen Headbutt would kill from here. But thankfully, this Sinister is being helpful in using Rage Powder, so even if you do, you're fine.
Terra Starstorm is pretty normal to see in this first phase. Because it wants to target both attackers. By the way, the Terra Orb is only charged up after dealing damage twice. So that's why we have to do chip damage twice, and now we get that animation that we're all powered up for this. That will be the case for every phase of the fight.
And now we get to explain the Terra type. So, 9 hours into the speedrun, this is where the Terra type actually starts to matter. So, here we have the worst of the two Terra types. When you catch a Pokemon, it will always have the Terra type of one of its matching types. There's 2, it's a 50-50 chance for the Terra type to be one of its two types. For Flamigo, it has a 50-50 chance to be flying or fighting. And fighting is the worst one of the two, because of phase 2. So phase 2 Terrapagos
is Psychic Terrapagos.
Yep. Psychic Terrapagos, which is annoying to say the least, because unfortunately our fighting type Terra move is not enough damage to actually go break the second barrier. So we also, fun fact about this.
Nice crit.
That crit is ridiculous because that Zen Headbutt is programmed to do 9,999 damage. And it's not just programmed to do that. It's also programmed to ignore sturdy or focus sashes.
Yeah, that's a hard-coded Zen Headbutt to get rid of Carmine's Pokemon. Always hits, always deals max damage. Doesn't always crit, so it's funny that it technically rolled a crit on top of all that.
Not just max damage, it's 9,999.
That's
literally what it's coded to do.
What if it technically overflowed because it didn't crit?
No.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. So hey, this is where our familiar goes down. So that's completely fine. Yeah, it
this
is
is
faster
fine.
than Headbutt does miss, 10% chance each time.
So now we go into Doug Trio because Doug Trio is faster, and this is how we get our second chip damage in, is just hit it. Just be faster than it, then hit it. You'll be funny to know that we Earth Power it, and it Earth Powers us right back.
Yeah, I was considering Meowstic, but turns out Terrapagos actually has a bit of trouble killing Meowstic, so that's why we don't use. Because normally it'd be like, oh, just use Meowstic Fake Out, and then it flinches, and then you revive during that. But actually, it takes 2 turns for this Terrapagos to 1-hit KO Meowstic.
Anyways, I will now use my Terrastalize Energy on the Lechonk.
Yeah, no. So here we go ahead and use Max Revive, but we're not actually going to be bringing back the Flamingo. We would do that for the Terra Flying strat, but this is the Terra
Flying
strat,
goes back and uses the acrobatics with Terra Flying. But yeah, fighting's not powerful enough. So this is the whole reason I've been bringing Miraidon into the fights, is to get it that's a little extra experience, because now it's going to matter. But this is the most important, well, second most important Draco Meteor you have ever seen, barring the World Championships of VGC from last year, where there was dude literally missed a Draco Meteor. It was so sad.
Well, is it like a $250? What was it? $25,000?
Yeah, like a $30,000 miss of Draco Meteor.
Yeah.
Little less on the line there, but glad to hit it as long as you see the Terra animation. You hit.
Yeah.
That's a big Draco Meteor there.
And also we get to abuse the fact that even though our special attack drops, because every time the phase changes, Terrapagos absorbs Terrestrial Energy, it changes all stat changes, which is convenient for us because now that -2 is no longer there.
Yeah. So now we got phase 3. Phase 3 is the water phase. So it's just kind of like... Yeah, and here it's just like, okay, the Miraidon's on the field, and the Miraidon can live because of some fun shenanigans. Remember that time that it said, hey, I knew you could do it? Yeah, our friendship or happiness level or whatever is pretty high because it's auto high. So I can Power of Love live through this phase and then just use Electro Drift as my Terra move. I don't get the 200% boost, but it is super effective, so it'll still kill.
Yeah, and also it saves a little bit of time because the Draco likes to activate the hat animation, and we don't want to do that, so it's slightly faster to do the super effective than it is to do the hat. But yeah, one thing to note is that Koraidon is actually much better than Miraidon to some degree. So Koraidon actually needs to be a little bit more loved and needs to guarantee itself to get to level 75, which isn't always the case. And it also needs some help because it actually needs to buy the Dragon Fang so that its Dragon Terra Blast actually does enough damage. But the reason why Koraidon is slightly better is because, unlike Miraidon, which has a very high chance to just die, especially if it goes for 2 Earth Powers, Koraidon actually lives 2 Z Headbutts from Terrapagos, bearing any crit.
Yeah, and here it's more common to see Earth Power. I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live here. I got Terra Starstorm twice.
Oh, nice. Which actually means that for Koraidon specifically, you can, if you are doing the Koraidon strat, you can opt to skip the Max Revive and just go for the fight itself. Which does save a turn over the Miraidon. We have to go get the Max Revive because Miraidon surviving 2 turns is not guaranteed at all.
Yeah, definitely not guaranteed, especially since...
Whereas Koraidon is far more guaranteed. Because the health mochi, the defense mochi given to Koraidon actually makes a big difference to making it survive the hit. Actually, no, I think I've done this before because we pick up the Mild Mint. We have a minus
critical hit, wishing to be praised.
It gets minus special defense, so maybe with Modest and maybe it could survive too, but I have not done the... I think I've done the damage calc saying, and it says that no, Earth Power is always a 2-hit KO.
So phase 4 actually fails. So we just get the free next attack here, which just ends the fight. And in this case, well, hey, it's the Miraidon that's still in play. If the Miraidon dies, we go back into the Flamigo, obviously, and then we close combat it with our fighting Terra type. Does the same, but that's why we take the turn to max revive to be safe. But there we go. We are going to catch Terrapagos. Which ball should I use? I still have a few left.
You have a Quick, you have a Pokeball, you have an Ultra, and you have a Master, so pick one.
I'm going to go with the Ultra Ball. Maybe I'll save that Master
I
Ball for
always
something else.
I mean, I always pick the Master Ball because you just mash A, and it also annoys people because it's like, hey, you don't have to mash A. And it's like, yeah, but I'm lazy.
Yeah.
And also, it's not like in Moshi Mayhem you catch okay, you do catch Petra, but that thing has a guaranteed catch rate just like the Terrapagos anyway. So
Right on. By the way, time will be a little bit after the. It's not now. It's we got a little bit of some cutscene, like a little text. But it's just like on the next fade to black will be when we call time, and it should be in about a minute.
So, yeah, time will be called in about 1 minute. So yeah, that's if we can get tech to stop the timer.
Yeah, I'll call it out. Just want to say, obviously, a huge thanks for Streitzer and Game Over Cancer for having me on today. And showcasing a run that I actually very much enjoyed. Like I said, this is my favorite Scarlet Violet speedrun category. And yeah, it's just a blast to be able to showcase this and do it for such a good cause, the Canadian Cancer Society. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you very much for having me. Crisis, thank you for spending a bit of your Easter with me. Time will be in right now. Time 2:04:40 on my end, which is an absolutely great time for this.
What was your time?
2:04:40.
Oh, that's brilliant. I said you get sub 205, and I was right on the money.
Heck yes. But yeah, Crisis, thank you so much for being here with me. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate everything that you've done for this run, the routing, and obviously just like our community. So yeah, thanks, Crisis.
And with 3 minutes left for my time at Easter.
Nice.
Because yes, in 3 minutes it'll be no longer Easter time for me because time zones are funny.
Time zones are great. But yeah, if anybody wants to check me out, again, my name's tpat. I do all of the Pokemon games on the Switch. So from Let's Go, Sword Shield, Scarlet Violet, a little bit of BDSP. I did do some of that earlier in the year. And Legends Arceus has been kind of my main game recently. Check me out at tpat_WX. Would love to see everybody there for just a good time. We have a great community. And if anybody wants to get involved with either this game or any of the Switch games, make sure to join the Switch Speedrunning Discord. You can find a link to that under any of the speedrun.com pages. There should be resources or tools. It's somewhere. I haven't seen it in a while, but I know for a fact that it's there. So So please join our community. We're a lot of fun. We have a lot of very friendly people. And if anybody wants to get involved in Pokemon speedrunning, you can always hit me up or any of our amazing people here. So again, big shout out to our community. Shout out to Game Over Cancer. Please keep doing some great work. And yeah, thank you very much for having me.
And I'll just be very quick. Like to my shout out, like I've been Chrysosaurus. If you guys enjoyed, I also do Pokemon speedrunning, mostly on the Switch as well. I will be planning to do at some point the Pokemon Switch Quinfecta, which is 20 hours of Pokemon games at the same time. But at least for this game, if you want any more information, even in the Discord, if you have any questions, just feel free to message me and I'll respond. Hopefully at least within 3 business days, because I do have a terrible tendency of not actually responding to messages. But yeah, that'll be me. And I want to thank also Game Over for Cancer and the Canadian Cancer Society for, allowing us to do this run and benefiting for a great cause.
Yeah, thank you so much, folks, for being a part of this event. Very much appreciated, and that was a super fun run. So can't go wrong when you go underestimate,
Yeah, thank you. I definitely did my due diligence practicing and also setting up the save file, because there was a whole week where I needed to get to this point of the game where it's like, okay, now I have to start practicing the run.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with that, we are going to pop to a brief intermission. We'll be back with Kenshin Trek doing some Super Castlevania 4, so don't go anywhere.